Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. As always, really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers. Gratitude to anyone new. Welcome along. This video, we're going to be talking about speed kills. In particular, we're going to be talking about Dmitry Bivol versus Benavidez. Obviously a potential massive fight potentially in the works. I know there's been some talks, negotiations were closed and they weren't closed, but this video is really going to be focusing on both of their speed. I'm going to be talking about the fight in particular, but we're going to break down the science behind both of their speed. Let's go.
Watching very intently with Ellis pinned in the corner, and now Benavidez trailing the pass. It's been the scene of some of the most intense rivalries, some of the biggest fight matches.
Boxing.
I'm confident with artistic expression because my only goal is to make something that I like, and I know that I can keep working on it until I like it. So it turns out that when you make something truly for yourself, you're doing the best thing you possibly can for the audience.
All right, as always, appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get straight into it, right? Because this channel, welcome to anyone new, is, you know, obviously a boxing channel, but I like to delve into a little bit of art and a little bit of science. And I'm not a science teacher or any qualified scientist whatsoever, but, you know, I do have a passion for both those topics, and more so with punching, you know, scientifically. And, you know, speed is, you know, one of the most sought after traits, you know, in boxing, really. Obviously power, I would say, is the most, but then right behind it, you know, speed. And it's such a fascinating topic as well. It's got very similar you know, correlations to power, in the sense that, you know, it is gifted and it is an attribute that, you know, you can improve, but you are born with what you're born with, really, in my opinion. You know, same with power. You've got tremendous power punchers, yeah, and as I said, you can certainly improve your power a decent amount to sometimes, you know. But with speed, I think it's the same thing. You know, you have just absolutely gifted fast hands. Benavidez, I mean, those hands, those combinations he throws.
Watching very intently with Ellis pinned in the corner, and now Benavidez unloading on Ronald Ellis.
I mean, he might have the fastest hands in the game. I saw that video with him and what's his name? Damn, Vargas. Emiliano Vargas. And it was like neck and neck. And Vargas is like, I think he's at 135, right? 130 maybe. And Benavidez is now light heavyweight, and he was matching him, and his combinations. It's a beautiful sight to see when he's got his man up on the ropes.
Benavidez are going to close the show. Can he finish off Lemieux? Lemieux in trouble. Harvey Duck watching the action.
You know, he's been getting better and better and better, always seeking out the highest level of knowledge, trying to get better at what he was bad at, which was cutting the ring off in his footwork, and where he seeked out Rigondeaux, who's obviously a master at having the ring try to be cut off against him, so who better to ask? Obviously a Cuban, footwork is supreme. Roy Jones, he spoke to him.
Yeah, what you want to know? What you want to know?
Everything, whatever you. The best,
Yeah.
best top three.
And he's always, you know, like, has this, like, you know, youthful nature about him, where he's trying to learn, and he understands, he respects the game, he respects the elders. Andre Ward.
Yeah.
And I'm bing, bing, bing. I'm right back.
That right hand. That's
This, bro. This.
Yeah.
You can be a really good fighter. Both hands.
Yeah.
You could be all-time great if you make this great.
Yeah. I appreciate this information you give me. It's definitely going to help me in my career.
Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, it's just his humble approach to it all. And he's just an absolute savage, you know. There's so many people that were calling him not the monster after he had that slight win. I thought he beat Vosdek just, but, you know, some people didn't. And some people were questioning, you know, whether he's any good. That's how crazy boxing fans are. But I was like, no, this guy's still a monster. And of course, David Morrell, he put up a great performance there.
The light heavyweight division throughout history has been the scene of some of the most intense rivalries.
I picked Benavidez to win. I thought he might stop him, to be honest. I thought the pressure might be a bit too much too late, but his skills are getting better and better. His inside fighting, his defense, and just his overall game is just on the ascendance big time, because he believes in himself so much. He's got some great attributes, including speed. Now, one of the things that makes his speed so amazing, at least in my opinion, and these are just my thoughts, I'll bring some scientific ideas in, and I've been studying a little bit, so feel free to fill in the gaps if you will. But his muscular coordination is a big part. It's a big part of speed. And what do I mean by that? Just coordinating your basically your whole body, whether it in a relaxed state. That's a really massive important part. Having the fluidity and the flow, and just the ultimate relaxation of when you're letting the punches go to when you're clenching your fist inside the gloves. Obviously we can't see that, but I can only assume high level elite fighters like that, you are supposed to do that, and that does help with just the whole coordination of just not clenching your fist like this all the way so tight and relaxed. Obviously most pros. All right guys, let me just jump in here really quickly so I can articulate myself a little clearer, because what I was trying to say is it's really important for muscular coordination to stay in a relaxed state, all your muscles kind of loosely in cohesion when they are traveling towards the the target, and then when the fist is approaching the target very, very, very close to it, millimeters, that's when you clench your fist and you create the full force of impact, as I'm showing you with this channel that I have found. I'll leave the link in the description. This gentleman really knows his stuff regarding to punching, so you can see his loose state of his arms, and his muscles are flowing, and then right when the impact is about to connect, that's when he tenses up. And this is obviously more beneficial for ones and twos. When you're throwing combinations, it's probably better to have them tensed all the time so they're ready to go, because it's only going to be a few milliseconds before the next punch lands. Anyway, I hope that explains it. Back to the video. Thanks. Are going to know about this and do this and practice it, but when you are talking about speed, little things do occur like that where you have to have everything in harmony. And if you look at how relaxed he is too, always, and just loose too, he's got a loose body type anyway, and I think that helps with his speed. Another important factor about speed is the rate of force development, and I think I got that right. I'll put it on the screen if I didn't. I've just been watching a video all afternoon. Rate of force development, basically big part of speed, this is quite interesting, is the mental effort that you put into, right? For example, not every punch he's going to throw is super speedy, so what differentiates the faster ones? Well, it's your mental effort, what you put into them. Same with Dmitry Bivol, get onto him in a minute. But for example, when Benavidez has his man up against the ropes, or he sees an opportunity to really let his hands go, that's the mental effort.
Benavidez is going to close the show. Can he finish off Lemieux? Lemieux in trouble. Harvey Duck watching the action.
Same with power. If you want to put more into the power, you have to mentally exert more mental effort to do that, and then that creates the rate of force development, which is the motor unit recruitment, then the muscle fibers kicking into. All right, there's a whole, I'm going to do more and more research on this as I go along, but I'll pull some clips up of this channel that I've been watching too, just to try to help you understand what I'm talking about, because the more relaxed you are, the more coordinated your muscles are, the better your timing, the more mental effort you put in. And the mental effort, let me just switch lanes a little bit and give you an example of what I'm talking about, where there was a bodybuilder, and I'll pull up his, I'll do some Googling after, because I forgot his name, but he was in a weightlifting contest, right? And he thought to himself, I've got to imagine that my son is under these weights and I need to lift these up.
I wasn't lifting 500 kilo off the floor. I was lifting a car off of my kids. I did it! Yes!
And that's the mental effort. That's a bit extreme, but that's part of what you can do with speed and power, and it's obviously some fighters it becomes far more natural to them, even like going back when I was watching boxing early on in the early 2000s, Gary Russell Jr. Unbelievable speed. You know, he just came so natural to him, and he would reel off like a 10 or 11 punch combination, just bah, 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 and then end up with a massive shot. And, you know, that is just something to behold. And, you know, Amir Khan as well. Remember Virgil Hunter used to say, you know, used to make his eyes tear up how talented he was. You know, I'm assuming he's talking about speed too. That's just gifted.
Schultz is starting as a big favourite. Right hand straight away. And he's hurt by another right hand. Cowering in the corner. More punches range for him at the moment. Salita will do very well to get through this opening round.
Bivol, obviously, gifted speed department too. And just the way how loose he is on the bag too, and you know that was a part of a documentary I've been talking about for a while now. I put it on the shelf for a bit. I wanted to get it back up before the Bivol fight, but I went away. But at one point, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just going to drop it. But the art of perfection, which was when he was, you know, how he converts his training methods into a real fight. And if you look at when he's hitting the bag, how loose he is, and the movement he has with that, his footwork is absolutely essential to how fast he is, because he needs to set his feet in those quick, flashy combinations. He needs his feet to bite down on the ground. That's where you get the power from, but it's also where you get the leverage and the little jump off, right? Where Bivol was so reliant on that little window where counterpunchers use, where, you know, you just see it, you use your feet, you bite, you grit down, and bam, 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 bam. You know, he's like a machine gun.
That good solid defense from Bivol, and nice counterpunching. Oh! And now Bivol's coming forward.
And in fact, in the first Benavidez fight, you know, obviously he just won the rematch, and I picked Bivol both fights actually in the first. I didn't have a problem with the first. I thought the first one was, you know, very nip and tuck, and I scored it, like, you know, I kept changing the scorecards. I was like watching around. I was like, But there was one keys to victory. I said Bivol can't get too greedy, and when he starts reeling off those shots, that might be an opportunity for better Biev to, you know, trade with him. And there was a couple of rounds where he hurt Bivol in the middle of those trades, and that might have been the difference, at least in those rounds. But in the second one, he was far more disciplined with that. But he was also like far more understanding of that power, and he was far more comfortable, more relaxed. Defense was a little bit better, although he did get hit with some clean shots to the head. He just took them quite well.
Shot from Benavidez, which is so heavy.
But, you know, it was a tremendous fight. But Bivol, look, unbelievably relaxed. You know, again, muscle coordination, but the rate of force development, the intent, the mental effort, the muscle fibers, fast twitch muscle fibers that you need. You know, the plyometrics training that the Soviets do, which is, you know, that really builds up the springiness. Yeah, I've talked about that with Madrimov in the past too, where basically, you know, it just the specific training that they do for that pendulum step, which is the very, you know, signature move in the Eastern European training, is built for power and speed, because, you know, they're just bouncing constantly off their calves, so it helps them basically like a springboard. Yeah, if you look at Bivol, he's just springing all over the place and then he'll spring in and he's springing out whilst punching you, and that's the beautiful thing. He's got a little safety net too, and Bivol does this amazing thing. His defense with his parrying like that, but blocking at the same time, keeping it here, keeping the concentration levels so high where he just moves around. Defense is amazing, and that's why actually onto the fight, where I think because Bivol's feet are so good And Benavidez's feet, you know, are his weakness. Let's be honest, he's had issues cutting the ring off. He's gotten a lot better at it. But, you know, David Morrell didn't really try to use the lateral movement. It didn't try to use the Benavidez's weakness against him. And I think Bivol absolutely will and absolutely can. And I don't see that being anything other than a Bivol points win. You know, I'd heavily favour Bivol. But, you know, Benavidez, I certainly wouldn't rule him out. I've never really went against him. I picked Plant initially, and then I changed my mind. I was like, I think he beat it. He's too much of a beast down the back end. And he's got a great chin too. I think he's got a really good chin. Not everybody does, but he got dropped once, but he was very off balance in that.
Left hook! Left hook! There you go! Yeah! Everybody relax, take it easy. You won the title.
Like a jab. High output fights that we're used to seeing from Benavidez. And it's ruled a knockdown by referee Thomas.
I don't think I've ever seen him really hurt. I know Darrell hurt him a little bit, and he just kind of like took the shot, smiled sadistically, and just walked him down. And in fact, that's what he does. And I don't think this will affect Bivol because he's so intelligent, so good on his feet, and such a good jab, and obviously defense. But Dmitry Andrade was just saying, you know, I just hit him with these shots, and he just wasn't even going anywhere. And it was just like, oh my gosh.
Man, when I was hitting him with some of the shots and early on in that round, like I was telling people, I was hitting him the body shot. Just like, here's his body. It's like, I was like, man, what the hell? I was like, this is going to be a long night.
But, you know, Bivol, I expect Bivol to, you know, maneuver. Big part of Soviet style maneuvering, discipline, you know, in and out style jabs, flashy combinations. And that'll be a thing to behold if they have an exchange with the two, you know, reeling off those crazy combos. I mean, amazing sight. It's one of the most beautiful things in boxing is a speedy combination puncher or landing hard shots where in just in motion. It really is quite an amazing thing to see. But I hope they get this fight made. I know there's some politics involved, but I would be, you know, certainly be not rooting for, because I just, you know, may the best man win. But I think Bivol would comfortably win that fight. But look, I love the fight for the sport, and Benavidez wants to get the best out of himself. They both do, and that's why fights like this are great. And fighters like both these guys are great for the sport. And, you know, I'm very high on both of them. And that Benavidez, you know, the spider's web where he just, you know, is just this force with counter-punching ability, actually. Let me just talk about that. That's a big difference between this fight and the Benavidez fight. Benavidez can't really counter-punch. He can, but it's more so with like a jab at the same time, you know, a little bit more methodical. Benavidez definitely can counter-punch, especially with that left hook.
Without a doubt. Left hook, down goes. Oh, he's almost down. Lemieux in trouble.
Not just the left hook, but he's definitely quite sharp and fast with that, and that can be something that can keep Bivol a little bit honest. You know, that makes it a bit more interesting for me. But, you know, I'd love to do a bit of a deeper look at it, and maybe if the fight gets made, I'll do another video. But for now, this one was called Speed Kills. I'm trying to give these videos a narrative and, you know, talk about science. I like to drop in a bit of art, always put a bit of music in. I made this beat, I'll play it at the end. It's not full, it's not complete, and I'm going to start promoting my other channel, which is a music channel where I'll put the beats like this on there so you can check them out. If there's any beat makers in the building, you know, hopefully that makes sense to you, but I'll be doing more stuff like this and make it more of a piece of art, you know what I mean? Anyway, that is it from me. Speaking of art, I've got to get on the wheels of steel in about an hour or two. About, what time is it? 7? No, I mean 5 o'clock. I've got to get on there at 7. So I've got to wrap this up, but it's always a pleasure. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace, love. It's Saturday night right now. This will probably be out on Sunday or Monday. But yeah, for now, easy.
I'm confident with artistic expression because my only goal is to make something that I like. And I know that I can keep working on it until I like it. So in some ways, there's no pressure because the goal is to make the thing that I like. I know what I like. If I don't like it, I keep working, and eventually we get to a place where we like it.
Yeah. Do you ever face the inner critic of, well, what if other people don't like this?
No, I don't consider them at all.
Really?
Yeah, something I say in the book is that the audience comes last. And I believe that. I'm not, I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me. And it turns out that when you make something truly for yourself, you're doing the best thing you possibly can for the audience.
Boxing.